Morning everybody, my name is StevieWunderKid and welcome back to another video here on the channel. We finally have some more drifting content added to GTA Online as part of the Money Friends DLC. At long last, finally Rockstar dropped all 4 of the brand new Drift Tune cars in addition to the Declasse Walton Drift L35 version. So yeah, we've got 5 basically new drift tuning cars to run through today, and I figured what better way to start than with the Bravado Gauntlet Hellfire with drift tuning, as you guys can see here. So really quickly, if you guys haven't heard about it already, you can buy the Bravado Gauntlet Hellfire from the Southern San Andreas Super Autos website for $745,000. Then you could take it on down to the Ellis Car Meet, which is where I'm at here, to equip the drift tuning onto it. Normally it's going to cost you $200,000, but actually as part of this week's event week, you can get the upgrade for $100,000, which is really cool. So pretty much half off, and you can apply this to basically any other drift tuning car, which is really exciting. So yeah, as you guys can see here, there also are some pretty cool new liveries. I'm going to briefly run through those, and I also do have a dedicated video on the liveries coming later today as well, just reviewing all of them. So yeah, lots of exciting stuff. Let's head on into the mod shop and then go over the mods real quick for this car, and then we're going to take it outside and slide it around. All right, so taking it into the mod shop, man, I cannot get over these liveries, dude. They look so good. So yeah, anyway, going into drift tuning, first off, you can see I already have the drift tuning equipped, but if you wanted to remove it, it's 25 grand, which indicates that it is half off, which is really nice. Beyond that, it really is just a simple build. Honestly, I haven't really gone over anything too crazy with this car other than adding armor. The armor is maxed out, set to 100, and then moving on down, let's see, the suspension is lowered all the way. That's typically what I do. Those are the 2 upgrades I do to mostly any drift car, or drift tuning car rather, is just lower the suspension down to reduce some of that body roll, and then throw on some armor and you should be ready to rock. I do also run a spoiler on this car. I don't really think the spoiler makes much of a difference with this car in specific. It is a bit heavier and it is a bit more slippery. It's a lot, you know, more boaty, I guess, because it is a muscle car at its core. So the spoiler doesn't really impact handling all that much. So honestly, just go with whatever you think looks the best. Even if you want to leave it stock, that is fine too. But beyond that, I really haven't done much. Wheels, not really going to go through all those, but I will quick hit on the liveries. So going back, okay, this is the last normal one we got, is the Royal Tribute. Then the next one, we've got Drift Enforcement, which is what I'm running because I really just love the cop aesthetic, like with the graphics and everything like that on the sides here. We got Jackal Racing next, like race car type livery. Forgive me for not going all the way to the front. For whatever reason, the Ellis Car Meet, I can't pan to the front bumper of the car. I don't know why. But anyway, next up, we've got Team Hardstand. Again, kind of a similar vibe you'll see across some of these new drift tuning cars is so many of these liveries that they added, they're really awesome liveries, but they're all like race car inspired liveries. Well, except this one, but most of them are just like race car inspired liveries, which sucks that they weren't added to the normal car and you have to put the drift tuning on them to get them. But anyway, we got a missile type livery here. We got Hell's Kitten, which is like a old like plane or bomber, something like that. Dense Motorsport, this is more of like a proper like drift car type livery in my estimation. We got Pride Up North with some crazy patterns and everything, flannel and the camo. We've got Scribble, which is another kind of drift car inspired livery. Can't really put a gauge on this one, not really sure what primary color would look good with this. And then we got Redline, which is another like crazy livery. So yeah, lots of really detailed cool liveries that Rockstar definitely put a lot of time and care into, but only a few of them I think would work specifically on a drift car. But anyway, those are the liveries there, and then there's no other additional modifications for the Hellfire. So yeah, we've gone over basically everything you're gonna need, so let's take it back outside and give it a little drift. All right, so here we are, and I don't even know why I used that phrasing before, give it a little drift. Maybe give it a little test, but give it a little drift sounds weird. Anyway, setting it in for a nice big entry. Yeah, kind of the one tire fire, a little bit of understeer there, and that I think is the first thing I want to hit on with regard to the Hellfire's handling. Is this car is great, it's got good power, it's pretty smooth. A lot of that is mainly assisted by the car's weight because it is just so heavy that you have a lot of momentum keeping you going through, again, some of these tighter corners, but those higher speed, like really drawn out corners like the ones I try to hit on the way in, this car is not really meant for. So its capability is a little bit limited in comparison to some other drift tuning cars cars, which is something that you guys should be cognizant of, but I don't think really anybody expected this like heavier muscle car to be a super competitive drift tuning car. So yeah, just wanted to get that out of the way. This car does, in those higher speed corners, things like that, will kind of roll over on itself because it still does have a pretty soft and spongy suspension. Again, it's a heavy muscle car, and muscle cars just, I think by default, have a softer suspension. And then of course with the drift tuning upgrade applied on top, that kind of feeling is exacerbated a little bit. So this car really isn't the best for those super high speed turns, but that doesn't mean that for the lighter duty stuff like this, it's not great. And as you guys can see here, mostly pretty smooth. Again, once we've got kind of into a groove and everything, transitions are smooth. I'm not really noticing an overt lack of agility or anything like that. Sometimes, as you guys will see there, occasionally when the transmission wants to upshift, it will catch traction and kind of understeer a little bit, and it's a little bit hard to keep it loose in those instances unless you're like left foot braking all the time. But for the simple corners and everything like that, this car really does do the job. And that's kind of what I really like about it. It's nice and simple, and I imagine too this car will be pretty good for tandems because it's not grossly underpowered, it's not super slow, but it's also not super fast and hooked up. It's not like you're going to be diving in on everybody or doing super competitive tandems. For slower and smoother type tandems, which is kind of the style I like the most, honestly, this car is the best for it. You could see there we drew out the transition just a little bit farther, and you could see that the car kind of caught a little bit of traction. So again, kind of harkening back to what I was saying earlier about this car wanting to kind of grip up if you're not really controlling your speed all that well with left foot braking, and making sure that, you know, the car is kind of in the sweet spot in terms of speed. So yeah, honestly, I'd say I'm pretty impressed with the Gauntlet Hellfire just in general, honestly, because, you know, it's not, again, the best drift tuning car that we have, but it's not bad either. It's like a nice, you know, middle ground between some of the more competitive cars that we have and also some of the slower ones. It's like smack dab in the middle. If I were to rank this car, it'd be like right in the middle, maybe in the top 10, because we now officially have 20 drift tuning cars. So if that gives you an idea of where I'd rank it and where it performs in general, then hopefully that makes sense. The other thing too is just this car's cost, right? Like it's $745,000 and then only an additional $200,000 at the most for the drift tuning upgrade. Again, this week it is on sale for half off, which is really nice. And yeah, so honestly, all things considered, the fact that you're only into this car for about $1 million all said and done is pretty nice too. So that's kind of an added bonus onto making a pretty iconic, you know, car in this game worthy of being a drift car. It is really nice, and it is definitely worth it. Not too expensive, and I'm sure a lot of you guys probably already have a Hellfire in your garage anyways. If you don't, then maybe this is the reason you want to buy one. You know, it's not like you're really going to be using the Hellfire for much else in terms of racing. Maybe drag racing, but honestly, I think drifting with it now is a lot cooler and a lot more enjoyable. So yeah, I'm going to hit this last, I don't know what I'm going to do here. Maybe drift around this. Oh, there's a barrier. So I guess I'm just going to stop it there and end the recording so that way I can move on to some other builds. So yeah, boys, that is going to be a wrap on my test and review of the Bravado Gauntlet Hellfire with the drift tuning upgrade. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Nice and low key, unscripted, but I feel like I was able to get my thoughts across. This car isn't the best in terms of drift tuning cars, but it also isn't the worst. It's a nice kind of happy medium, as I said before. Not super competitive, but also not fun to drive. So it is pretty fun to drive, pretty smooth, all that, and I bet you guys will enjoy this one. So definitely go and give it a rip, but in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. Feel free to drop a like on this video, comment with any feedback you might have down below, and also consider subscribing because I've got plenty more drift tuning content coming out now that we actually have the drip feed drift cars as part of the Money Fronts DLC. So stay tuned for that. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.